Good morning. Happy Monday. How's everybody doing today? I'm a little earlier today than I've been. I'm in the process of reorganizing my energy and how I'm using my time and things like that, because Mercury went into Virgo a few days ago, and when Mercury goes into Virgo, it's time to really reorganize your life. So that's what I'm up to. We'll see how that goes. It's a beautiful thing. So today is the day that the moon rules, and the moon is currently at the 27th degree of Sagittarius. This is such a magical degree. Sagittarius is the place where the galactic center exists currently. You know, the universe is always moving, it's always growing, it's always stretching. And if you can just conceptualize, how you have the same navel you've always had. You have the same mouth you've always had. You have the same body parts, but it's not the same. It's not located in the same place that it was located when you were born. Your navel has moved because you have expanded, you have grown, but it is the same navel, right? So this is the same thing that goes on with the universe. And the 27th degree right now, currently, probably for the last couple of thousand years maybe, has been the galactic center. And the galactic center is the womb of the universe. It is, the black hole or whatever. It is where everything comes from. And this is such a powerful position. And it is the position of peace or silence. Hold on one second. Let me. The 27th degree is the degree that governs peace. And peace is the most powerful force that we can live into in our lives. Peace and love, really, honestly. Because peace is this power that allows us to be with whatever is showing up in sheer honor and acceptance of it. Because peace is, like, we think it's nothing, but it is really a revolutionary energy of holding, because the universe is always moving. We're never still. Peace, like being with what is, doesn't mean that you are accepting it. You just are allowing, like honoring its role. It is the place of power to be able to acknowledge and be with whatever is, from an understanding that it's not going to always be, because everything is changing. It has its role. It serves its purpose. And when you are able to witness everything, if you're able to move into peace, then the witness can emerge, right? So, like, I know when I'm in a really uncomfortable experience, the most uncomfortable physical experience I've ever been in was giving birth, right? For me. And in that, the power in that comes with just being able to witness the sensations. Just witness what's showing up. Witness how you feel about it. Witness what's going on. Witness where the sensations are. Witness the stories that you're telling yourself. Witness, because the witnessing of it is where your power is. The opposite of witnessing is reacting. It's like, you have a thought or you have a feeling, and it's the power, and there's nothing wrong with reacting when you're reacting from the understanding and the choice of witness. Witness is everything when we are anchoring into peace. Witnessing is how we access peace. How am I feeling about this? I remember one time I was having an argument with an auntie of mine. It was so funny. Like, I just not so long ago had my baby, and maybe he was 8 or 9 months. And I lived beneath a cousin. She wasn't my auntie, she's my cousin. And and she and I were arguing. She was outside in my front yard. She lived upstairs, and I was in the doorway in my house, and we were arguing, and I heard myself saying, I heard myself saying some really fascinating things, like, you dirty bitch, I'll fuck you. Like, literally, like, I was going for it. I was losing my fucking shit on her, right? Bitch, I'll fuck you. I'm just all that, right? And then something in me said, look at you. Something came out of my consciousness and said, look at you. And I went, oh my God, like I snapped out of it. And then I just started laughing and I closed the door. I just closed the door in her face because I realized, like, my witness emerged in that actual experience. The witnesser within me came to life and was like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Like, this is not, like, I don't even care about this. This isn't even interesting to me. So why am I doing this? So I stopped it right in that instant. So the thing about being a witness is that you're able to, my nose, everything has started doing all sorts of stuff since I sat here in this grass. So the thing about being a witness is that you're able to place your witness on everything without overly identifying with it. Place the witness on it to be with it, but don't overly identify with it. Because you're not the thing, you're not the experience, you're the witnesser. And that's the power of peace. Now, this moon today is at the 27th degree of Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is the energy of inspiration and vision and who you're becoming and what what you are actually cultivating in your life through your spirituality. For me right now, I am personally cultivating, reorganizing my codes, my energies, my ways of being around how I relate to this 3D reality. Within that understanding that the way I've been relating to this 3D reality up till now was based upon the family structure that I was born into, what I saw my parents do, how I saw them behave, the narratives that the culture gave me, what it meant to be a black woman, what it meant to be black. That all of those ideas were formulated early in my life, and those ideas have been running me up till now. Those have been the main ideas that have run and created my reality, because I was conditioned to believe it meant this to be black, or it meant this to be a woman, or it meant this to have money, or it meant this. All of these things had these meanings that I was given, that I inherited. And so now with the moon is our inner world, right? So I'm in the process of recoding my inner world. Why? Because as above, so below, so that I can then reconstruct a new external reality. And what I have seen in my own self is that because of my relationship to my parents and my profound levels of sensitivity, like I am extraordinarily sensitive. Many of us are. And because of my sensitivity, I have gone through life bracing myself, like trying to avoid feeling things that feel too much or that didn't feel good, because I had narratives aligned to them that had me feel like I was always under threat in some way, because of the narratives, because of the conditions, because of the lineage that I've come through, right? Black people are not safe. Black people, all of those create stories in the mind. And then that stuff is shown to us in the media over and over and over and over again. So I'm in the process of recoding that so that I don't create those experiences in my life any longer. And how it looks right now is really interesting because, like I've shared with you guys before, we're projecting this reality. Everything in our world is a projection. You got to get that. If you can't get that, then you're going to think that you are subject to the things that are in your world, and you are not. You are the things that are in your world, especially if you're a woman. If you're a man, if you're a man who doesn't lean into his feminine energy, then I don't know the conversation for you. But if you're a man who's leaning into your feminine energy, which is your internal world, it's just your internal world, right? All of these people who are like, you have to have facts and this is what it is and all that extra masculine, that shit is going away, because all of the facts, all that shit is just stuff that we all agreed on, and we are no longer agreeing with that, right? So all those things that we agreed, that this is beautiful, this is bad, all that shit is collapsing. So all that patriarchal, this is strong, all that stuff is dying because our consciousnesses are shifting. And the only way to really recover is by going internal, going into who you are and discovering who you really are, not who you bought into, not who the conditions are. How do you find out who you really are? Your natal chart. Your natal chart will give you the absolute clarity to understand how you best function. What is the best way for you to function? What is your highest identity? What is the best way for you to identify with this reality? So back to my point. I have been reprogramming my way of being in this reality. Why? Because I've realized that it was all based on conditioning and codes and narratives that were anchored through my parental and my family and my early childhood rearing. So it's outdated, y'all. It's gotta go. It's not serving any purpose any longer except to keep me in cycles and patterns that don't serve me. And so how it's showing up immediately, like I was starting to say, is that my relationships with the men in my life are changing. Why? Because they are a projection of how I relate to the masculine. The energy within me has attracted these particular men, however they are. My sons, the energy within me that came from my past created these experiences and the way I move through this 3D reality. The energy within me did it. So as I shift the energy within me, my relationships to the masculine are going to start to shift. And immediately, one of the ways that it's looking is that I'm just not capable of making myself small to be in the company of men. And I see that I have in the past either adjusted myself, like made myself small, not shared my ideas, not really been true to myself, because I have an expectation that who I am is going to be not accepted by them. So I am in the process of shifting that. So yesterday we were out, me and some friends, and there was 3 women and 3 men. And it's so interesting how men can make sports be about everything. Men can turn anything into a conversation about sports. And so I was just watching how the women, we were all just sort of, like at the effect of their conversation. And finally I just said, this doesn't mean anything to me. Like, I just said it out loud. Like, rather than trying to get along, I just said, these things don't have any real value for me. Like, and, they were talking about how they were really talking about how they cook for women and all that. And I was like, I'm just not a foodie, and men who cook for me, that's just not my love language. I don't have that. I don't value that. Like, food serves a purpose for me that's not like my entertainment. It's not my love language. But one time I had this partner who could totally talk about Jupiter and Neptune, and I loved him. Like, we had so much fun together because he could come to me in the way that were my codes. And I didn't have to make myself be something different to make him feel like a man. I got to just be myself, and he felt like a man, and it was a natural thing. It was a natural energy. And I'm realizing that because I have not really presenced myself with what I care about and what feels good to me and what I love, I've not brought that into my experiences with men. And I have literally misled most of the men in my life thinking that I care about the shit and I don't. And I don't. just had this conversation yesterday. Men will call you difficult when you, yes. I'm not, here's the thing about this whole submission thing. Women are the conduit to the unseen, to the divine. And if we don't get into alignment and submit to the divine within us, our planet is dying, you guys, because we are the place where it comes through. And men are not. There is no reason for us to submit to them. Because there's no because and there's no unless, right? Unless your submission to them really serves your joy, that is the only circumstance under which you should submit to a man. If it is serving your joy, because then your joy is the connection to source. Men need us to be connected to source energy. If we are not consciously, intentionally, deliberately connected to source energy, we are not of service to mankind. We are of service to their ego. When they say submit, that is an egoic request built into their need for power. But that is not true power, you guys, and it is killing us all trying to adhere to something that is out of alignment with our true nature. We are not here to submit to men. That is out of alignment. It's bullshit. It is a trick, you guys, unless it serves your joy, unless it opens your heart, unless it gives you real pleasure, because it has to have reciprocity. I learned when I was married, I was like, oh, if I follow a man, he is not going to lead me to the divine. He cannot, because he's so connected to this 3D reality. He's subject to his penis. Men are subject to their cocks, you guys. They are subject to it. They cannot, right? So if we are doing our work and being devoted to spirit and devoted to the divine feminine, they are going to come follow us because they are subject to their cocks. You got to understand, you cannot submit to a man. You have to submit to the divine. And the divine will bring the men in your life who understand your devotion to source. And that can be fun and sexy and joyful. This is not some punitive, horrible God that says you can't. No, this is life. This is opening up to the power of life moving through you. It's not just to move through you as somebody's mother or somebody's wife. It is to move through you so that you can be the conduit for the new world that has to be built. And if you are submitting yourself to men and their egos, we are all going to be fucked because they cannot lead us to the kingdom. We are the leaders to the kingdom. We are it. Unless they are devoted to the feminine. Unless they are highly devoted to the feminine. And in my experience, men that are around me that are devoted to the feminine are usually gay. They're usually gay, which I love. Or they're usually very forward and progressive thinking. They're very forward and progressive thinking. If they're not gay, they're very forward and progressive thinking. They're in touch with their own feminine energy. They're in touch with their own internal world, their feelings. And if they're not that, they're in the old world. So it is important for us to understand how we function, because we are not functioning the way we are made to function right now. The world is fucked up. The world is fucked up because women are not being what it means to really be cultivating feminine power. And we think that's about a man and shaking your titties and shaking your ass. It don't have shit to do with that. It's not that. Sometimes it looks like that, In ritual, sometimes it's like you got to spin those hips and get it moving and da-da, you know what I mean? Absolutely. But that is not. Your function is to be in devotion to the unseen world, the power that is within you, the cosmic mother that is giving birth to new realities and can only give birth to new realities through the feminine. Through the feminine. And if the feminine is not embodying and being in the function of her feminine energy or his feminine energy, then you are out of alignment. So, these conversations around submission to the masculine really have one thing is, are we submitted to the masculine within us? Because the masculine within you is the power of Asar. It's the power of the divine Father that's holding it down for us all. And it doesn't have anything to do with a man. The masculine within you is not about a man. And if you are not devoted to the beloved within you, to the creator of all that is, to the nature and to the cycles, the men in your life will pull you out of your frequency. I feel like all of the men in my life, with the exception of two, straight heterosexual men, they want servitude on some level. No, with the exception of 3. I have another friend in New York who's not that way. But they really want, this idea of wanting submission is an egoic thing, and it doesn't work, you guys. It doesn't work. Look at when I was in Egypt, there was something so fascinating that I saw. I was like, these women don't have any power. They're completely covered up. They're completely behind. They have no power. And you could, there was no feminine energy in the cities. There was nothing. It was completely void because it's an Islamic nation. And Islam, Christian, all of these energies suppress the feminine. They have removed the feminine energy from the pantheon of the divine. And everything comes from the feminine. So if you don't honor the feminine, everything that's here is dying because it's not being regenerated, re-enlivened, recultivated, because it's the feminine energy that does that, y'all. So it is important for us, this moon work, the inner world, to cultivate your inner world through your connection and your devotion to your higher self, to the divine feminine, to the goddess. Not to leave men, not to make them unworthy or any of that, but so that we can create the order as it's supposed to be, so that we can create the divine order. The feminine cultivates everyone. The masculine only gives a fuck about himself. He really does. And y'all know that. They only give a fuck about how it looks and if I'm being respected, and they don't care. That's it. Because they're subject to their penises. They're subject to them. And that won't change. And so because they are subject, that is their Achilles heel. That is their weakness. Let's say it that way. That is their weakness. And because it is their weakness, we have to realign ourselves so that we can get into the divine natural order of things, because they're coming no matter what. Like bees have to go to flowers. It doesn't matter. They're made that way. A bee cannot say, fuck that flower, I ain't going. When that flower opens up and sends out the bee has no choice but to go to the flower. So you've got to get yourself in alignment with your divine blueprint, your authentic self, who you are really meant to be. And then you start sending out that energy, and the men who are in alignment with that will show up like bees to flowers. I promise you. You don't have to submit. That is an outdated idea anchored in the patriarchy. It is dying right now as we speak. All right, you all. So share the video today. The Jupiter class starts on Thursday. We're going to be working on changing your identity, shifting your identity into who you are truly meant to be, who Goddess created you to be. And if you're ready to step up and be who you are, this class is going to be really fabulous. It's very upsetting to them knowing we have the control. I don't think I care anymore. I'm so awakened. You know, it's not control. God has the control. We don't have the control. Try to control your menstrual cycle and see if you can stop that motherfucking from coming. For real. You cannot. You do not have the control. That's the problem. That's what's going on. We don't have the control. There is an order. The Creator has the control. And when we submit to the Creator, it does put us at the top of the food chain, right? It puts us in order that in the ego mind would say we have the control. But we know we're submitting to something that is greater than us. We know that. And when you start to do the work, you'll see that, like, I'm really clear. I'm powerful, but I'm powerful not because of me. I'm powerful because the divine through me makes this so. And I have no desire to control a man or control another human being. Because there's nothing to control. There's nothing. When I'm in my rhythm and in my flow, everybody that comes in my field, in my vortex, is going to have to get in a rhythm and flow. And I'm aligned to the cosmic law. So everyone in the field that comes near me is going to get in line with the cosmic law, with the divine mother, with the divine father, because that's the rhythm I'm in. Thank you. So that's what we're up to. That's what we're up to. All right, you all. I love you so very much. So, you know, here's the thing. Men don't want to be in control because they really know that they know that they don't know. They do know that they don't know, but it's hard to say it and give up the power. They don't want to give up. They don't want to be in control. We don't need to be in control. The divine is in control. And when the feminine submits to that, not the way they say cover yourself up and close your legs. That's not what submission is. It's not. The way they've been telling us to submit is them controlling us. When we go and talk to the divine, and the divine might tell you to come and shake your ass every day on the screen. It's not what we have been told it is. The divine might tell you to, do yoni breaths every day and literally open up your pussy, and the divine might tell you to do all sorts of stuff that has nothing to do with these old outdated narratives about what it means to be a woman. The divine might tell you, trigger these motherfuckers until they just collapse into I surrender. The divine might who knows, right? That's why you gotta get connected to your higher self and not to these motherfucking men who really just want their dick sucked. And I understand, because dick sucking is fun. I like to do it, but it has its place. So we're not going to deny our central nature. We're not going to deny our true power and how delicious it is. It's here to be enjoyed, but it's ours. We own it. They don't. We own that power. And I'm happy to share it. I don't want to be selfish with it. It's an infinite power. It's abundant. And like I said, so with that in mind, it's about a consciousness. It's exactly. Yes, we own it. It is ours. Your pussy belongs to you. Your orgasms are yours. Your joy, your pleasure, all that's yours. And they are here as a conduit to just help you realize that. That's it. It's not attached to them. It's yours. They help you feel like, oh, yes, that's inside of me. It's inside. All right, y'all. Peace and blessings. Sign up for natal chart readings. so that you can really begin to understand who you are. And then the Jupiter class starts on Thursday. The Jupiter class, I love mine so much too. It's so good, right? And I want y'all to know, right, for women, the older we get, the better it gets. The better it gets. I mean, literally, the kind of pleasure I'm having in my sexuality now, I wasn't having in my 20s or 30s. And because I'm at peace with what I like and who I am and what feels good and what it just gets better and better. It's so amazing. It really is. So yeah, don't shut down on it. Don't shut down. Like, stay free. Stay free. Don't collapse into old narratives. Stay free. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.